When severe weather hits, the faces you often see are those of our weather team. But what about the team that you never see? Eyewitness News meteorologist Joe Bird continues our team coverage. He talks with a member of the National Weather Service to see what it takes to keep us safe.
From sun up to sundown, your weather authority was in the weather center on Sunday, keeping track of all of the rounds of storms. And all combined, there were probably at least, if not more, 50 severe storm warnings and tornado warnings issued by the National Weather Service. Joining us now from the National Weather Service out of Paducah is senior forecaster Keith Cooley. So Keith, hello there. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, and thanks for having me on this morning.
Oh, you bet. Glad to have you with us here. So I saw a Facebook post from you all yesterday that it was all hands on deck there at the National Weather Service because of this event that was going to be happening. Talk about the heat of the moment. What was it like there at the Weather Service? Because we know it gets a little hectic here at the station, but behind the scenes, describe what you guys are doing.
Oh, wow. Wow, pretty much describes it. I mean, it's very busy here. And this event that we had was actually incredibly busy. We had an event come through in the morning. We had half of our staff here then. There were probably 6 to 7 of us on shift at that time. They were here from about 4 o'clock in the morning to 4 p.m. Then we had another shift come in from about 1 p.m. till, well, it was close to midnight before they left. So 2 really busy shifts, took all the staffing that we had. For the afternoon shift, that actually became very busy with several tornado warnings across the area. What goes into that? We actually have folks that are on the communication side. So there's forecasters doing that, doing Facebook Lives, sending information out to emergency managers, talking with the media to make sure that you're getting our thoughts on what's going on with these storms. We're sending out storm reports, trying to keep people safe, getting those warnings out. We actually I think we had 4 warning forecasters yesterday, which is really high for any event. I think 1 of them or 2 of them were doing severe thunderstorm warnings, and then we had a couple working on tornado warnings just in different parts of the area. Having 58 counties across 4 states can get really hectic when you're trying to keep track of all the storms that we had yesterday.
So let's talk about now the warning coordinators. 4 of them, that's a lot, you're right, to have down there at one point. I mean, are they just sitting there looking at the radar screen the entire time, waiting for each scan to come in to know what to do?
That is quite literally it. We're keeping track of every scan. We're right on the edge of our seats. Sometimes you're looking at a warning or to try and decide if you want to issue a warning, and you're keeping track of each scan. So every 4 to 5 minutes. Sometimes it's a little earlier than that when we're looking at velocity data that comes in, every couple of minutes. We can see what's going on. But we're literally just watching and waiting for each scan. So when you heard earlier that we're sitting here for 8 to 10 hours, you might have one person looking at a storm like that and following it across our entire area, keeping track of it, waiting on each one of those scans to come in to make those decisions. Whether to warn, not to warn, what kind of warning you want to go with. Is it a severe thunderstorm warning? Is it a tornado warning? And they all coordinate closely together. So when we have 4 people doing that, they're all talking, they're kind of sitting close together. And so they're all talking about what they're going to do for each storm that they're issuing on. And we do we have to sectorize that. So we choose what parts of the area we're going to watch. We may have somebody watching the north half, so keeping track of southern Illinois into southwest Indiana, and then we may have somebody watching southeast Missouri into Kentucky. But they all coordinate really closely, and we do have somebody that kind of keeps an overview of that as a warning coordinator to make sure they're not issuing warnings for the same storm and that sort of thing. It's a whole lot to keep up with, for sure.
And let's talk about the tornado warning that was for Hopkins County. It changed into a tornado emergency. How did that term, do you know how that term came about? Because you really had to let the public know that's what's going on down there.
Yeah, so basically, initially when we issued the first couple of tornado warnings, I think that storm, if I remember right, we had some pictures of it early on just south of our office. So as it was just getting going, we started issuing tornado warnings on it. I think it was as early as, just here in McCracken County, and it started working its way up. But so initially it started out as a base tornado warning. Most people see those, and sometimes you don't. Occasionally it's just radar indicated and you don't actually see a tornado that occurs with those. But as that started morphing and we started hearing reports of tornadoes, and then we heard of a large tornado doing a lot of damage. That's when we started changing it over into that tornado emergency. When we look a lot at the environment that these storms are forming in, and once we start hearing there's a tornado forming and we know it's in an environment that it can produce some stronger tornado damage, and when we say that, we're talking EF2 damage up to EF5 damage. If those tornadoes are starting to form, we're getting actual reports of tornadoes on the ground doing damage. That's when we start thinking of doing that tornado emergency. It's not, those tornado emergencies aren't going to come out for like your basic radar indicated tornadoes. These have to be verified tornadoes, and we know that they have the capability of being those larger, much stronger tornadoes.
And so the last question I have for you here is, I know you're out going to be doing, not you personally, but the team's going to be out doing some surveying today to determine the strength of all this stuff. But what else do you learn from that, knowing, okay, this tornado was here, it did this, but what do you learn for future weather events?
So there's actually quite a bit. There's an archive of all the tornado damage that is surveyed across the country. A lot of that goes into, for one, verifying that it actually was a tornado. So that can help us as radar operators to know, did we overrun for that storm? Was it actually a tornado that occurred, or was it straight line wind damage? So a lot of that goes into the verification process and helping us improve our warning forecast decisions. Is there something we overlooked that caused us to issue tornado warning, and it ended up just being straight line winds? I say just straight line winds. Those do a whole lot of damage too, just as much as tornadoes do. But that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is we can keep track of, our storms becoming more intense. Are we seeing more and more damage from tornadoes? Are we seeing more tornadoes in general? There's a lot of information that comes out of us doing these storm surveys.
Well, Keith, I tell you what, I know it was quite a hectic day for you all down there in Paducah, but I mean, the whole tri-state thanks you for that hard work yesterday. No doubt you saved a lot of lives yesterday, so thanks for your time.
Yeah, we are thankful for all that they do behind the scenes. Joe, thank you.